What's up, everybody? It's your boy Showtime Doctor. I'm back. So I decided I was going to go through a couple of the characters in Epic 7 with you guys. This won't be like super in-depth because I'm saving that for when the translation's out on the global release. But give you guys some thoughts on which characters to start thinking about, which characters, a lot of characters that are readily available. And as the dev for the Epic 7 game, they've basically said that the game is balanced so that you can beat it with 3-star characters. It's just, as always, 3-star characters take a fair amount more investment than, your typical 5-star characters. But we're going to get started here, so I'm going to introduce you to all these heroes, and then I'm going to do another battle after this, and we'll introduce you to those heroes. So let's get started. By the way, top of the morning to you. Alright, so, never actually been in this zone before, so I might get wrecked, we'll see. But, as the characters come up in the battle, I'll go over with you what they do, etc. Alright, so this is Kiris. Kiris is a 3-star archer. There are subtypes in this game, archer. So the thing about Kiris is, her damage is garbage, as far as like her straight damage goes, so don't gear her for attack. Crits, all that's like a waste of time. Don't even worry about that. What you want to do with her, you want to gear her for debuff accuracy, which is a stat in this game. Basically makes it so that your debuffs have a higher chance of being applied. And you want to gear her with like life or protection, something to keep her alive, because she's going to need a bit of that, because she tends to get focused, especially in higher battles. So the first ability here is her basic attack. Has about, I've upgraded it to 35%, but normally it starts at 30% chance to inflict poison, which is pretty good. Now her 2, that is an AoE. Doesn't hit that hard, but the cool thing about it is she does, she can extend the duration of debuffs. One of the few characters in the game that can do that. So, well, we'll get to that later. I'll show you guys that. And then her 3 is basically, she uses it after you've gotten her 3rd purple star. She'll get an extra turn. And then what she does, she has a very high chance of putting up 3 poison dots at once. So in this case, it should apply all 3. Let's see here. Of course, it gets 1. So it does have a chance to be resisted, depending on what the enemy's resistances are, because that technically buffs her to 100. But in this game, one thing to note, the elemental advantage actually plays a huge role in this game, because not only are you doing less damage and they're doing more damage to you, but your chances of getting debuffs on them are lower than normal. So we'll come back to Kiris after a bit. So this is, I believe it's Karin, right? Yeah, Karin. So Karin's really cool. You can get her, God, I forget what she starts at, if she's 4 or 3-star. Let me look at it real quick. But I know it's not 5-star. Yeah, she's 4-star. So Karin's a rogue character. Rogue characters, they're focusing on damage, etc. So her abilities are as follows. The first one is just your standard physical attack, but if she crits with it, she reduces the cooldown of her other abilities. So that's what this skill is. Now, the second ability, it is a defense reduction. Defense breaks and buffs in this game, by the way, are both very strong. So if she crits while she uses the skill, she will instantly take another turn, which is pretty fat. And then her 3 is a really hard-hitting ult. If she crits with this, it gets a additional damage multiplier added to it, so it hits even harder, more than just the base crit would have done. So what you want to build on Karin is crit chance as high as possible, crit damage as high as possible, and then get her a little bit of debuff accuracy is good, some HP, maybe a little defense if you're up for it. Speed doesn't hurt her. So what we're going to do, we're going to use her ability to try to put defense down on this big dude in the back. So let's see how it goes. Fail. And she didn't crit, so we'll come back to her. And I'll keep going over all these skills until I drill them into your guys' heads. So Now this girl Ravi is a 5-star, I forget what they technically call her, it's like warrior, something like that. She's one of the better characters in the game to reroll for. So her 1 basically is a hard-hitting attack that life steals. So you're going to be using the 1 the majority of the time you have her, because her 2 is a charging bar that's underneath her life bar. You can see it here. And essentially, the more it's charged, the higher damage that she's doing. And eventually when it gets to, I believe it's over 50%, it might be a little bit more, it unlocks her 3. Now her 3 is a big fat AoE that has a 75% chance to stun, and she does like a butt ton of damage, but it resets your bar. So if you need lifesteal, your damage is going to go back down. Her 3 does not lifesteal, only her 1 lifesteals. So go ahead, demonstrate that. You see that damage she's putting out. Now we gotta take some deeps. Ravi always cracks me up because, like, the girl in the front, because she's like this big warrior with this gigantic axe, and when she gets hit, she sounds like an 8-year-old that just like stumbled. It's kind of messed up. So this is Destina. Destina is one of the top 2 characters you're going to reroll for. A lot of people would argue top. She is the only 5-star healer in the game as far as you can get early, and she is the best healer that you can get. Now, there is a whole thing with Moonlight summons later, but that's until you beat the game. It's not open, so don't worry about that right now. So her 1 is basically an auto attack that will restore a certain amount of health. It's pretty good. So she's always healing with all her abilities, no matter what, even if everything else is on cooldown. Her 2, let me make sure I'm getting the percentages right. Hold on. Yeah, so the lowest person with vitality gets healed by her 1. Her 2 is basically a blessing that restores their vitality and increases their attack power by 30%. So that's pretty strong. By the way, all the healers in the game are different, but she and a couple other healers, they restore based off of their maximum vitality, so their maximum health. So you try to get Destina's health as high as you can with all the bonuses and stuff. Now her 3 is, it's an AoE heal, and it cleanses all effects. Weakening effects are what they call them in this game, but it's basically debuffs. But the cool part is, depending on how many debuffs are in your party, it'll increase the action gauge. That's the thing over on the left side of the screen there. Right over here. When you get down, you take your turn. Like, this is 100% basically. You can kinda... Yeah, I accidentally cast. Well, there you go. But essentially, up to 4 debuffs will be cleansed, and you can get up to 60% additional turn speed with her ultimate. So she's only level 34 because I just drew her like 4 days ago, so I'm still building her. So right here, I'm going to show you. Remember when I was talking about Kiris, her 2 has a chance to increase duration of debuffs. So we're going to see if we can get that going. There it is. Right before he died, it was 2 turns there. So usually what I like to do with Karin is get a defense debuff up and then ulti, because she'll take an additional turn. But in this case, let's just ulti, because we gotta get some damage out. So this is just a really hard hitting. That red and orange text means that she crit, which means that there's an additional damage multiplier that goes on that. And you can see the bar I was talking about on Ravi. Yeah, a lot of stuff just happened there. So I'll go over what happened. That's the bar on Ravi I was talking about. That's her passive, her 2. That the more it builds up, the higher her damage goes. The harder she's hitting, the harder she's life-stealing. So she can actually serve as a tank for you in this game if you get her either the vamp set, the life-steal set, or you get her hitting so hard that she's just life-stealing like a mad lady. Also, her crit actually helps with that. Now, Kiris is 1. I've upgraded it once, so it's a 35% chance to put poison on. But as you see, in general, doesn't hit that hard. Now, what happened right there was a follow-up attack. Follow-up attacks in this game, they start at, I believe, 5%? It's somewhere in the 5 to 8% realm. someone randomly on your team will follow up, and they can, all of their procs that they can do on their 1, or with any of the relics that they have in the game, such as Karin actually has a 10% chance to take a turn instantly whenever she acts. That could have procced in that turn, and it could have been her turn right now, but it didn't. So that'll help him with anyone on your team. There are cards that affect that as well, because there's a damage boost. I think it starts at 5% from whatever their normal attack is on their 1. They always follow with their 1. And there is a card in the game you can get that will increase the chance by about 7 to 8% at the base level. And it makes it hit, God, I'm trying to remember if it's like 14% or so, but basically it hits a little bit harder. So right now with Destina, you know, just auto, because we don't need her big AoE heal right now. And then there's a little fat heal on Ravi. So I'm sitting pretty here, because my tank life steals, my healer heals no matter what, and I got 2 pretty good DPS that cover everything but magical, as far as the realm of damage that they do. So if she crits with this, she reduces cooldown. She didn't crit. And the battle's over. So I'm gonna go through the battle a little bit faster now for you guys. It's gold that just dropped right there. So 35% chance to inflict poison. That was a crit. If she hits this, this will be a defense down. If she crits this, she'll take an extra turn. That's a crit. And defensive down proc. So now we're just gonna hit him again. And Karin is actually a very underrated character in this game. She is an excellent, like, double DPS teams, or even a primary DPS if you get her enough crit and crit damage. Very great hero. So, your girl Ravi's getting hit a little bit. So, there's this thing called souls. You acquire them, you know, as you attack up here. These are soul charges. So essentially you can burn a soul charge to make a specific ability do an amped effect. So in this case, with Destina, her 1 is going to hit harder and heal a lot harder. So you see Ravi's health there. Normally she would be healed for, like, I think it was around 500 last time. So let's see what we do. I didn't see it, but whatever it was more, so. Alright, and then this, once again, it's going to cause, once you get her 3rd purple star, it's going to cause Kiris to take an extra turn. And she now has a 100% chance with her 1 to inflict 3 debuffs. Now that is mitigated by whatever the resistance is of the enemy. And in this case as well, she is actually the counter unit, because wind counters water in this game. So hopefully these will stick. Yeah, there's 3 right there. Now, the thing that makes Kiris good, guys, she got nerfed recently a little bit, but she is top tier when it comes to fighting bosses with lots of health. For the most part, there are some bosses that can cleanse and some bosses that'll be resistant to her, like fire bosses. But for the most part, if you get her in a reroll, consider it gravy on top of, like, say if you get a Destina or something like that, and you're lucky enough to get a good 4-star hero or card. If you get Kiris with your team, Kiris will help you immensely, especially early game, but she'll keep on giving to you for the big boss battles that happen in the tower, and then a lot of the boss battles that happen in the regular world. So, and that's life still up. She hits this. Both of these cooldowns will be available next turn if she crits this. Let's see. And that is a crit, so she gets both her cooldowns next. So there's no debuffs to extend here, so I'm just gonna auto. Because her 2 doesn't do a great amount of damage. Now in this case, if I want to, I can choose to use her 2 to give Ravi a little bit fatter heal, but since Ravi heals herself, we should be fine. Get her a little bit of health there. I'll show you guys Ravi's ult during the boss battle, so you see how the cooldowns are back. So I'm just gonna go regular though, because I want to save stuff for the boss. Alright, so let's get going. So this right here in the background, it's a soul charge thing. Gives you an additional one. There's life healing ones, there's treasure, etc. Alright, so this boss, I'll show you what's going on with her. She has a couple, these are passives. I can't exactly read them, but what I'm guessing is, because these are common graphics, these two have something to do with crit, either crit chance or crit damage. That one, I'm not sure. It could be attack power, it could be whatever. These two on the left are buffs that can be dispelled. The left one is a haste buff. The one after that is probably a crit chance buff. So, what we're going to do is... I'm trying to think if I want to kill. Normally you just go for the boss. But she looks like she can be a bit of an issue with this team. So I'm going to go for the boss, but I may switch up DPS. We'll see. Alright, so... trying to see when her turn is. It's pretty soon, but Ravi... because this is a one-turn debuff, her defense down. So if her turn is like almost instantly after it, you know, you don't get much out of it. But in this case, it should be fine. If you guys are wondering what her burn is for her ultimate. It makes it hit a lot harder. In this case, I am actually going to elect to burn this guy on the 3. Is that a good choice? No. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to burn the boss here, so we'll go for the defense down. Alright, we got the defense down, she got her turn. Let's go for it, so I'm gonna burn. See how hard she can hit her. Got the crit. Yeah, that's some damage right there. And she procced an additional turn again, so this lady's nuts. I got her with the relic that has a 10% chance to give her additional turns. So on top of her 2 when she crits giving her additional turns, she's gone 3, 4, 5 turns sometimes. So yeah, that's what I'm telling you. A lot of people sleep on her. Yeah, I don't get why. So I'm gonna show you Ravi's ult here. It's one of the better graphics in the game actually. Check this out. So. And so we didn't get a stun proc, but part of that is Ravi is the weak element to water. And as you see, both these guys are water. Not sure if she's water, but it wouldn't. No, she's fire, but it just didn't go off. That debuff that's on Ravi is Berserk, basically, so she's going to take an automatic action next turn, and I can't control it. So that's just the way that goes. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to... You know what, I haven't shown you guys Destina's ult, I might as well. Destina's ult should cleanse that and bring her turn up 15%, so look at her right here. And at that stage, once the ultimate's over, she should be somewhere near Kiris, if not a little ahead of Kiris, so let's see. Oh. Yeah, you saw her jump there. So if you burn Kiris, it used to be, this is the nerf that happened to her, it used to be you would burn her ult and her ult would get cooldown reduction, so it would come back faster, so you could launch poison attacks a lot more. Now it is, you have a higher chance to extend debuffs with her too, so that was the nerf. She's still really good, just not amazing god tier like she was before. We didn't get any. I wanted to show you guys how much poison ticks. Just take my word for it, poison ticks for a lot of damage in this game, so you get yourself a Kiris. Have her in mind for building up. So, I guess I haven't shown you Ravi's burn. So say that Ravi was at like 50% health or so. You can burn with Ravi, and she will hit a lot harder with her 1, enabling her to lifesteal a lot more. So you notice, I think her normal lifesteal amount was like 600 to 700. So check this out. 1265. So. And then that additional damage that happened after has to do with her relic. I honestly don't understand exactly how it works, but it's something to the effect of if the boss has lower than 50%, you do additional damage. I believe it's how it works. It might be something else, but anyways. I never got a serious translation on it because it's real hard to get translations for the newer relics in this game. So, and down she goes. Storyline. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna come back and show you guys, by the way, they have like damage meters and stuff you can check out. So you see how Karin's deeps was the highest, but since Ravi was tanking, she gets MVP. And then she would have did better if she got poison attack off on more people. And that's the heals. This is damage done, damage taken, healing done. So that's pretty sick. Now I am going to... trying to think of how to show you guys the next group. I'll probably actually do a PvP battle. Although that would be over kind of fast. You know what, never mind, I won't do a PvP battle. I'm running the risk of getting wrecked with this next team, because they're kind of my B team. But oh well, I guess that's why I'm taking the Sez with me. I wish I could show you guys Sez, but unless someone dies in this group, it's gonna be kind of hard to do it. So, up until I got, well, I'll tell you guys after I'm done here. Try to get that annoying sound down. Who should I take? Trying to think who you guys would want to see more. Secret, because Secret isn't available until like the first banner after the initial banner. Actually, you know what, let's take the Pleiades Maid. Even though damage is going to be kind of suspect for this team, but we'll see how it goes. Alright, so once again, as we get in combat, I'll go over these characters' abilities. Let me set it up so that I have them here. Alright, so this archer is Silk. Silk is an archer that you will get from a table quest in the lobby. The table in the upper left in the lobby, you satisfy a certain set of requirements and you unlock the characters that are there. So Silk is actually one of the really good characters that you're going to want to unlock ASAP. It's kind of a pain though, because she wants you to kill bugs for some reason, but whatever. So her 1, which is right here, attacks enemies with arrows and reduces action gauge by 7%. Action gauge is over here once again, so essentially you can delay turns a little bit with Silk with her 1, which is pretty good. And all her damage is based off of your speed stat. So you try to get her speed as high as possible. Now her 2 is a passive just like Ravi's. Basically, continuous shot damage. At the end of your turn, you gain 1 concentration. You consume 2 concentrations when you attack. If your concentration is more than 2, 1 shot will be strengthened with a continuous shot and damage will increase. So the subset of the damage increase, essentially... To be honest, there are a lot of skills in this game that they don't give exact percentages on. Whatever the buff is, it's just a buff to damage. As you upgrade the skill, it gives it a 5% buff every time you upgrade it for every rank, even the last rank. And then her 3, which I'm going to do in a second here, it's a big AoE, causing an 80% chance to slow down the enemy for 2 turns. So cast a slow, basically, for those of you from Final Fantasy, makes their turns come slower. And increase the speed of all allies for 2 turns. So that is a haste. So I'm going to do it right here. But definitely when you get into the game, work this hero up. So that's the snare right there, and this is the speed up. So all of our characters are faster, all their characters are slower. I'm not sure what the percentage is, but it feels like it's like 20 to 30% for the buff and the debuff. So combined, it can be really good. Now this is a character I'm not super familiar with. I've just recently been turned on to Carmine Rose is her name, the fact that she's super good. So in this game there's some Pleiades maids, which is pretty funny. There's 4 maids and they cover every elemental. There might be 5 actually now that I'm thinking about it. Carmen's the one that covers fire. And she's the best one, by the way. So Carmen, I'll tell you, with her 1, she recovers health with her 1 and does a fair amount of damage. Her own health, by the way. With her 2, attacks the enemy and absorbs 35% of their action gauge. So essentially 35% of over here, wham, they get set back. So you can use her to focus whoever you don't want to attack as much as possible. And when combined with Silk, you can effectively... Now this is on a 4-turn cooldown, but at the beginning of your first turn, you can effectively reduce whoever you don't want to go by 42%. So keep them out of the fight a little bit longer, which is nice. And then it also reduces speed for 2 turns, so the same thing that Silk just did. So, and then her 3 is called Daze. It attacks the enemy and removes all beneficial effects, so essentially a dispel. And increases her own attack power and defense for 2 turns. Dispels are very important in this game. Lots of times the enemy will buff themselves with buffs, and like I told you earlier, all the buffs in this game are very good. Like the speed buffs, the attack buffs, the defense buffs, etc. Crit buffs. So you do not want to have the enemy have that as much as possible. Let the enemy have that as much as possible. So she's a good character to counter that. Now Carmen, builds for her. You can actually make her a tank, because her 1 restores HP, like I was saying. So you can actually get her the Vamp set, which is a 20% lifesteal 4 set in this game. And she can serve as a pretty good tank for you if you happen to not get this character down below, which I'm going to show you guys later. But for now, what I'm going to do with her? I'm going to reduce the turn and try to snare this guy in the middle, or this guy over here, because he's the only one with this, without the snare. So... Did I do that wrong? Ah, fuck, I did the dispel. Professional player. I meant to do her 2 there, but oh well. Alright, so this is Achates. Achates is your 2nd best healer in the game that you can get right off. I showed you Destina. I rode with Achates for a while, that's why she's at 50. So once again, if you get like someone like, say, a Ravi or a Sez, and you get Achates as your initial roll in one of your 30 rerolls, consider keeping that, because Achates is a very strong healer. Not as good as Destina, but not that much worse. Honestly, not that much worse. So the things Achates does. Number 1, when she hits someone, she has a 35% chance to reduce their damage, so reduce their attack, essentially, for 2 turns, which is pretty cool. Her 2 recovers vitality of allies, so a single target, and increases defense for 1 turn. The amount of defense recovered increases to her maximum vitality, so she works like Destina. The first healer in the game works off attack, the trap. And then her 3 is an AoE heal. Removes all weakening effects, so it dispels everything. And the amount of recovery speed increases to her maximum health. Now this is actually an old... Yeah, this is actually an old translation I'm reading, because I'll show you... Actually, no one's really hurt right now. Her 2, it does a good single target here, like I said, but it doesn't do a defense buff. It now makes you immune to everything for a turn. So if you know that someone's going to get focused because there is a brand in this game, just put that on them and they'll take no damage. They still have debuffs applied to them, but they'll basically take no damage. So, but in this case, we're just going to attack, because no one needs healing. So this is Armin. Armin is, bar none, the best tank in the game at the moment. There is one person that can compete with her, but you have to draw them, and they're on a banner. God, it was like a month or so after the game came out, at least. So this is your best tank right here, guys. She is a 4-star, by the way. So once again, consider if you get her, and you get a good 5-star, keeping that one, because a good tank in this game is actually pretty sexy. But once again, you can also make some of your DPS's tanks too, like Carmine here, Ravi, etc. But not quite as good pure tank-wise as Armin is going to be. Now Armin, I guess is... her 1, it has a 25% chance to stun, and I believe I've upgraded it. Maybe I didn't, never mind. And if the target has a weakening effect, the chance to stun increases. Now I have no idea what that chance is, that increase, but it's just the way it is. And the damage is based off her attack power, which attack power you don't really want to focus her. You want to focus defense and health. Her 2 is a attacks all enemies with the glowing light, 35% chance to inflict blind for 2 turns, which blind, in my experience, doesn't work that well, unfortunately. People seem to hit you no matter what. I've even been crit while someone's blind. And continuous damage for 3 turns. Increases your own defense, her defense rather, for 1 turn. So continuous damage in this case being the poison. Her poison does not tick as hard as, say, Kiris' poison. And then Impenetrable Shield. Impenetrable Shield is basically a big AoE protect. It grants you damage absorption and also heals a certain amount. The shield is increased proportion to the defense. And the health recovered is in proportion to her maximum health. So you want to be building both of those because that skill is going to save you a lot. So right here I'm going to go ahead and look to hit her. Actually I might hit her 1 because I want that increased stun chance. Do I? No, I want to hit her 2. So this has a chance to put poison and blind up. Doesn't do a ton of damage as you see, but we got some of the debuffs up. Alright, so now this attack, basically 7% less action gauge of whoever you attack. So right here I'm going to go ahead and make Carmine Rose immune with the 2 along with healing her. Yeah, that star, it does raise defense, okay. I guess the star must come in when you get her 3rd purple star, because 3rd purple stars always change everything. I never noticed that before. Oh, actually, you know what? That might have been Carmine Rose's. Let me go check. That might have been Carmine Rose's ult. Yeah, never mind. That was Carmine Rose's ult. My fault. So her attack and defense went up. Her speed is up because of Silk here, and then she's now immune to all damage for a turn. So. So Carmine's 2 once again. This is the one I meant to use earlier. It's going to decrease action gauge by 30% and decrease speed. They both already have decreased speed, but I'd rather this guy attack than this guy. So back he goes. In fact, you know what? We're just going to kill him. And this is going to heal Carmine a bit. Well, if she had less than max health. So hopefully that's a good skill overview for you guys. I will continue talking about the skills. This is going to reduce action gauge by 7. We got the big guns coming out. So right here I have 2 choices. I can either AoE heal with her, or I can attempt to wait until Armin's turn and put a shield up, which is what I'm going to do, because I would like to save Achates' heal until we have a lot of debuffs on us, if I can at all help it. If you burn with her, the heal just heals for a bunch more. So we're going to try to lower attack here. Success. That's our focus target. And keep in mind, guys, my Carmine is not that built up, and she just did an 1150 crit, which is pretty good considering the gear I got on her. Now, if you burn with Armin here, makes her shield fatter and her heal fatter, but don't really need it to be fat right now. So there's her damage shield, a little bit of heal. So I can ulti again, so I'm going to go ahead and look to do that. This is going to reduce speed at an 80% clip, and also increase all of our speed. Oh, my bad. If you burn with Silk, you can essentially, she gets a free turn after using her 1. So if you have a bunch of burns, and there's a lot of bad stuff going down, you can burn with her over and over and over, and keep pushing that dude's turn back. Just and it is actually very useful in some cases because there are bosses in this game that they have charge attacks, and you have to either burn through their shield or you just want to delay them as long as possible before they do their ultimate attack, because it's a very slow countdown. Like, you'll get 3 turns in between, but if they get it off, you're fucked. So if you can have someone like Syl constantly pushing their turn back at certain points, that's actually really strong in this game. So right here I don't need to heal like I was saying earlier, so we're going to go ahead. And then that's the other cool part about Silk. When she gets her co-op attack like that, she's pushing turns back again. But I gave her one of the Archer, I believe it might be 5-star, it's either 4-star or 5-star relics in this game, that she has like a extra 7 or 8% chance to do a co-op attack, and she gets 16% additional damage or 14%, whatever the hell it is. So now Armin has a chance with her 1, additional chance to do stun with her 1. But at the same time, I just want to keep focusing this target here. So yeah, because hopefully that would happen. And you see the shield absorb the majority of that damage there. So now this is off cooldown again. Now I have a chance to get Silk back up in health. She's immune for a turn. So everything's going pretty well here. There's your stun. And we're through this battle. Tier 4 green boots. Oh, that's funny. We're fighting her. So you see this wolf in the middle here. So the wolf is basically, and there are 3 different summon things you can do in this, but the wolf is, you summon him, he uses 3 soul shards, does a butt ton of damage, AoE damage, and then increases the attack of your full party by 2 turns, or for 2 turns rather. A pretty good amount too, I think it's like 30% or so. So, but in this case, I don't need it for the moment. Alright, so she's... Miss Hackers here is gonna summon a bunch of crap. This has a chance to blind and poison. So this is going to... By the way, I think she's slow charging like that thing I was doing before. Although it's not as bad as like when the Lotus Eater guy does it. So right here I'm just going to attempt to push her turn back. Wham. I'm going to save ulti because I believe she's going to summon another creature. Plus I want to keep pushing her turn back a bit. So right here we're going to ult. The ulti is going to increase Carmine Rose's attack and defense. Should we ult now? No. Okay, we shouldn't ult yet. So I'm going to go ahead. Just hit her. Because the issue is going to be if she gets enough of these things up and they start doing their AoE damage thing, that's going to be an issue. So, in fact, you know what? I should be hitting Hearn just to break his attack. But you see how effective we've been at pushing her turn back, and I don't even have like snare or anything up on her. I probably should have just AoE'd, but I'm saving it now. I already committed to it. So once again, this has an increased chance to stun if there's debuffs up. Okay, well, she did her attack. Not a bad attack either. Alright, so what I'm electing to do this time, I'm just going to burn. We're going to get the wolf up. By the way, if you burn with Carmine Rose, her ulti hits a lot harder. Cookie crisp. Yeah, let's just bring it down to Chinatown. So this is gonna snare her, hopefully, which it did. It's gonna haste us. Now, I haven't shown you guys Achates' ult. I'm thinking I'll keep it for one more turn. Just in case she does like a big attack. So we'll make Silk a little invulnerable here. I'm kind of sensing that she's gonna do something big, but if you burn with Armin, oh, I reset it, yeah. Just basically becomes a bigger shield. And a bigger heal. Oh, that's it. Oh, that guy actually hits a lot harder. I gotta start burning faster. Let's see, should I burn this? Yeah, I'll burn this. Oh, that increased the duration of her buffs too to 3 turns. So yeah, tanking with her is actually pretty cool because a tank that can put a defense buff for herself is super strong actually. Gonna help you tank a lot of extra crap. So what I'm gonna do, just to show you guys her ult, here you go. This is a AoE Dispel, pretty fat heal. If you burn it, it heals even more. I'm gonna go ahead and hit a 2. And then next turn, because I'm expecting this guy to do some AoE damage. No, he didn't. Well, whatever. Alright, we're pushing her turn back. We're trying to. Lower his attack. Or try to. What was that? Oh shit. I didn't know they could do that. He sacrificed himself to give her a heal and actually summoned a nastier unit. She gets like 2 of those up, I might have issues. So we gotta start burning a little bit harder. Yeah, I'm guessing by now you guys have been paying attention, know how this goes, so just start burning. Yeah. Here we go. You always know it's bad when there's a panty shot at the beginning. Apologies for the lag, guys. Nox is eternal. Alright, let's summon a wolf. So now would have actually been a better time to have an Achates ult, but them's the breaks. I'm just gonna go hard on her. Hope for a follow-up. Oh, never mind, we got this. Kiris made for the win. So anyways, guys, hopefully that showed you guys a little bit of what this game is capable of, fun-wise, character-wise, battle-wise. Now, I will be doing in-depth characters guides for this game, but I'm waiting for global to come out because there's, you know, the language barrier is too much for some people. But this is just something to look forward to. I highly recommend. I wish I had Says to show off, but I really don't. Says is really good for DPS. Ravi, you've seen her earlier, she's really good. And Destina are going to be your top 5 stars that you're going to want to pull early in this game. But there are also some 4 stars that you need to consider. So, and I'd love to name them all off, but you know, I'd just be kind of defeating the purpose of why I showed you all this. But so those are some of the characters to think about. There's other characters, and you guys can share your experiences in the comments. You know, let me know which characters work for you. Maybe you got different builds than most people do. You can kind of clue us in on what's going on. But anyways, guys, that is it for this video today. Also, the videos are going to be coming a little bit slower because I am... God, how many days left? In 10 days, I will be living in North Carolina. So I will be moving. I'll try to get set up there as fast as I can. And we'll see how the timing goes with when this game comes out and everything. But look forward to it, guys. This game's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to playing and covering this game for you guys. So have yourselves a great day. I guess I'll do my promo stuff. Yo, I'm Showtime Doctor, Showtime DR. You found my YouTube. Hit like if you enjoyed the content. Consider subscribing. Also, come check out the title notes. There's a link to the Discord. We got an Epic 7 tab. It's usually the most active tab in my Discord. Got a couple other gaming community tabs in there. And then my Twitch, twitch.tv/ShowtimeDR. Come on in. Come watch me. I'll play this. I'm playing some Knights Chronicle still. I'll play some other games. So hope to see you guys, interact with you in real life sometimes. We've got a good community, man. So peace out. Take care.